there are some discrepancies about how I faked my own death. It's not something I'm particularly proud of, but I am kind of proud of the way it went down. It was pretty much all my idea. I told Mr. Black I'd fake my death, and he decided to fake working with Bermuda, quote unquote, in order to get me a spot close. There were a few inside guys in Bermuda who were against them, who helped me fake my death. Apparently they weren't as against them as I thought they were. Mr. Black was always the one behind Bermuda. He just hid that from me. He led me to believe that I was a double agent when in reality he was just doing it so I could get even closer to Bibi. It was never about protecting her. It was always about wasting lives to make sure she had safety. Well, safety against other people who would want the information anyway. And that's another thing. What was the information and how did she get it? You see, there was a code which I know now is on the back of her amulet, which I have no idea. No, wait. I'm remembering that wrong. God, it's been so many years since I've seen her, I forgot. No, it was inside of the amulet. A little locket she wore. Well, she never really wore it. She kept it in a jewelry box. But it was given to her by her dad. He was some scientist. He had some project with the government, and he ended up working some numbers. Wasn't really a scientist in the terms of like a biologist, but he was all about numbers and money. I don't really know the details. But I do know that he found something big, a crack in his system that, well, if it were to grow, could cause major problems. He didn't know how to fix it, though. He kept trying to get it to the right people, but, well, they found out about his little plan and sent him to the graveyard. But not before he could pass it on to his daughter. He knew that there was a lot of problems, but, Bibi was trusted with it. Bibi is an interesting case. I know she's still alive because I checked on her recently. She doesn't know I did, and she hasn't seen me in years. And I want to keep it that way. It's better this way. After all, Danny was right. Again, I'll get to that later. Point is, I faked my death, and then I got to Bibi. I instructed some guys to take care of Danny. Danny was not supposed to be shot. He was always supposed to be captured, and they didn't do it. It was not their plan. Their plan was to kill him, as requested by Mr. Black. Thomas was control freak. He needed to control everything, including every single plan that I had. I wasn't allowed to think for myself. Everything I did had to be filtered through him. So when he found out that I was trying to save Danny, well, that wasn't going to fly. Got to Bibi, got out, and I decided, fuck this, I don't want to really be this anymore, so I left. A couple months later, we were thieves, stealing shit for clients and making decent money doing it. Introduced them to my then girlfriend, Neela, who went by Shay. I had been dating Neela for about 3 years before that. And we met on a mission, and our relationship was very physical. Decided that we should start dating. Well, she did, and it was awkward at first, but it felt more natural as time went on. seemed like we were only getting along when we were actually doing things together. And by doing things, I mean having sex. It's a shame. I really did like her at one point, but we didn't click. Anyway, introduced them to Neela, started stealing shit. A couple months later, they pissed me off. Baby did. It really angered me because they put themselves in harm's way. I tried really, really hard to get them out. Well, I tried really hard to keep them out. I ended up getting them out, but the problem was I didn't really know how much longer it would be until they did it again. I was angry. Stormed out. Mr. Black found out because he had cameras everywhere. He pulled me aside and he said, "Well, this seems like a good time as any. I'm very disappointed in you. You ran away from home, and now you need to be punished. Get me the information, or they die. Oh, and because you did what you did, because you ran away from me, make them hate you on purpose." It was his little sick game. It was his decision. I never wanted to hurt her or Kai or anybody. It was his decision. And if I didn't do it the way he wanted me to, they would die. So, in prison, it was I got out 2 years after I went in, and I don't really feel like talking about what happened. I blocked a lot of it out. I lost an eye and about 3 days after I got there, and I was in solitary confinement 7 different times. People really, really, really wanted to attack me. I don't know why. I was 6'4", pale as shit. My hair was long and black. I looked like the Grim Reaper, and yet everybody wanted to attack me. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I was emaciated. I looked scary. I just looked horrifying. I didn't look cute. It was, quite frankly, I was, and still kind of am, kind of ugly. But that comes with the job, all the scars, the marks, all that kind of shit. I don't mind it. I got out, and I wanted to help them really badly. We looked for him in San Francisco, and we found him. Well, he found us. Danny went home with a bullet in his leg, and we all got knocked out. They found out that I only did what I did to avoid them dying, and they felt like shit, and then that made me feel like shit because I should have just fucking told them. Even if they didn't believe me, I should have just told them, but I didn't. Kai felt the worst. Neela felt bad, but fact is she was in prison. And most of that anger just translated to Mr. Black instead. But Kai, oh man, Kai felt the worst. Kai felt like she ran over a dog. I felt bad for making her feel that way. The very next morning, I get a call from my mother, my birth mother. It's still hard to believe. I have trouble even saying the word mother at times because it's like I went my whole life without her. This was 3 years ago, and I still keep relative contact with her. Call her now and then. She's doing good. We haven't tracked down my dad yet, but I don't think her and I are going to. All we wanted was each other back. Well, I wanted a parent that cared, and I got it. And she wanted her kid back, and she got it. I don't think we really care about the details. We don't really need to care about the details, do we? I cut BB's hair the same night. Realized that I still loved her. That sucked. Because even if she was single, Danny's right. And again, I will get to that. But not today. We had a meeting the next morning to decide who goes where. They sent me to Toronto, sent Neela to Vegas, sent BB to Miami. We all had a mission. But I'll talk about that next time. I can only do these in small doses. It's hard on me. You understand, right?